everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome guest. He was here last year for a little movie called Slasher.com, which was terrible. But it was one of those app movies that, everybody's making these days anyway. Please welcome David Lane. How are you doing, David?
I have never been better.
Good.
Because I survived a movie called No One Lives. So now I'm here to talk about it.
Well, apparently you lived and you're living with Michael Myers, it seems. And that's just weird. Like, how can you live in a house with Michael Myers just sitting there like chilling with you?
You can kind of see Jason Voorhees to the other side of me.
Yeah, you can see kind of the outline of his clothes, I guess.
Yes, I am. And in fact, I have Chucky behind me. So maybe I won't make it
Where's
through this
Freddy?
call.
Where's Freddy?
You know what? When I got I have Pinhead over on the other side of the room. And when I got these, I got all three of these animatronics on the same year. The Freddy that was out was the remake Freddy.
No.
And I don't have any interest in that.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't play that way.
So yeah, that's the one I didn't get. But yeah, I've had these
understandable. Once I heard remake, done.
Yep. So yeah, but otherwise, I like to surround myself with. In fact, right over there, I have. Sorry, folks that are viewing.
Yeah, you can't really see.
I have an Art the Clown mask.
Nice.
Now I am going to, here's a cheap plug. I run a mental health nonprofit for fans of horror movies, science fiction films, superheroes, that sort of thing. And I will be at Tidewater Horror Con.
Catherine Corcoran's going to be there
you're
too.
Darn right she is.
I'm hoping to go there for like a split second, meet her, and go. And then I gotta go back to the studio, I think, to start.
Yeah, he's actually not going to stick around for my panel. Thank you so much, Jamu. But yeah, I am excited about meeting Catherine Corcoran and getting her to sign this for my personal collection.
Nice.
And as part of the Tidewater Horror Con, I'll be giving away some cool signed stuff.
You do know this will be in October that this comes out, so plugging it doesn't.
Forget about that plug.
Yeah, but it's nice. It'll be already over by the time this comes out. So I
just want to say,
guys missed out. Sorry.
I do want to say to everyone, Tidewater Horror Con was the greatest experience of my life, and
this is future David talking right now.
David from the future has come back to say Tidewater Horror Con was amazing.
Dude, okay, before we get into this movie, which we're going to get into in a second, No One Lives. Before we get into it, I want to say though that if anyone had a time machine, like say I had a time machine, right? I was able to go in a time machine. I hope that I would remember this conversation right now and show up and give myself a pizza, right? Just leave myself a pizza, but it didn't happen. Sorry.
Well, you're reminding me of one of the greatest films of all time. There's the Citizen Kanes, there's the work of Alfred Hitchcock, and then there's Josie and the Pussycats, one of my favorite films, where I think it's Tara Reid that says, if I could go back in time, I'd want to meet Snoopy. Which is one of the all-time great lines of comedy.
I mean, I get it. Like if I'd want to meet Snoopy too if I could, but Tara Reid, that's probably not going to ever happen, even if you could go back in time. But maybe you can meet the creator of Snoopy.
Cool.
Right? Charles Schultz. Maybe. I mean, who knows? But you couldn't actually meet Snoopy himself.
Nope. Mm-hmm. So are we going to get into No One Lives?
Yeah, let's talk about the movie that we're supposed to be reviewing right now.
Yes.
So the movie is called No One Lives, and I was kind of sad by the ending because
first of all, you're talking about the ending already. Okay.
I know, but it goes along with the title.
No, we have to start with the very, very beginning. Because this is, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks as well. This is a WWE film.
Oh yeah. So it starts off with the WWE logo, which I did not know.
Right.
And I know you yourself are a big wrestling fan, right?
I am a big wrestling fan, and let me tell you, WWE hasn't made good wrestling in like 20 years. They're damn sure not making many good movies.
Horror films, yeah, for sure.
Although, and for anyone who's going to correct me on this and then say, well, wait a minute, WWE films made Oculus. It is true that they were one of the distributors of Oculus. They did not make it. That film, that they actually purchased some of the distribution rights at a
that
film
was actually
festival.
Smart.
Yeah, they actually attached their name to a good film, but
Right.
they had nothing to do with making it.
I've interviewed Jeff Howard of Oculus, one of the writers, and he is like, I was gushing because yes, I like Oculus. I like all of Mike Flanagan's movies, period.
Oh yeah, Mike Flanagan's a genius, and Karen Gillan. So
there you go. So anyway, yeah, so it starts off with the logo of it at WWE, so you're in for some kind of ride, to begin with. I was expecting a lot more wrestling,
there is an appearance from
Tyrus.
He was the Funkasaurus at the time.
Was that his name?
Yeah, he was Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus, and he would dance to the ring. I think Tyrus is what he's called now.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with it. I don't think he's in WWE anymore. But at the time, he was getting a push from WWE because this is not a new film, and so they
2014.
They put him in this to, I guess, to help make him a star at the time. I don't know.
He is a bigger star now just because and his own like thing, because he does a lot of stuff like Fox News, which we don't have to get into politics. We don't have to get into any of that shit, whatever. People like Fox News, hate Fox News, whatever. But he is a commentator on like a bunch of stuff from Fox News.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's very big on that. He's he has Tyrus on there. He does like the Greg Gutfield show or whatever. And, regardless of what you feel like, about, politics or that particular stuff, it's really cool to see that he's out there, doing what he loves to do, period.
Listen, Greg Gutfield, or however you pronounce his name, I don't watch his show,
Gutfield, I don't know. I think it's Gutfield.
Sure. He used to have the late great Odorous Urungus on his show from time to time.
So he's cool in your book for that.
I'm not sure I would use those words exactly, but I do appreciate the fact that he gave Dave Brockie Gwar
Gwar's from Virginia, man.
They're from Richmond, Virginia, the home of David Lane.
Dude, yeah. Have you been to Gwar Bar?
I've seen Gwar play so many times, but I have not been to Gwar Bar, even though I live down the street.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie to your viewers.
You should go check it out sometime. The proprietor is actually what's his name in Gwar? His name is whatever. Anyway, Mike Dirks is his real name, and he actually owns the Gwar Bar because he's a Gwar member and whatnot, and that's really cool. I actually haven't gone there either yet, but I don't drink, and going to bars these days, since I haven't drank in 8 years, is sort of a weird thing for me. I only go to it at conventions and very sparsely.
I don't drink either. But so I mean, one day I should stop by.
Maybe the food's good. I don't know. I haven't been there. But anyway, moving on. So to go back to No One Lives.
Yep.
So it starts out basically this girl's running, and we're gonna talk about the whole thing. So if you do not like spoilers, or whatever, and haven't seen this movie, go watch it on Tubi. It's free.
Yeah, it's free on Tubi. Just watch a couple commercials and you can find out how big of a spoiler that movie title might be.
You'll find out. Well, we're going to spoil that today too. So if you just want to hear what this movie is about, and you just don't actually want to see it, but you just want to visualize it in your head and hear us talking about the whatever. But so basically, this girl's running, and we found out later that she's actually the girl that's been kidnapped.
Yeah, a
And I
rich.
had a feeling. I mean, I had a feeling she was.
Yeah, she's a rich kid.
Yeah, she's a rich girl, and she's basically kidnapped by somebody. We don't know who. We don't see who it is or whatever. And but it's, she's alive and well later. We find out she doesn't get killed or anything. So then later, we meet a guy who in the credits is named Driver. He doesn't have a name. They even say he doesn't have a name here. He won't give him. The only person who knows his name is the guy who he gave his credit card to. And I'm guessing
Right.
that was literally the only person who was supposed to know his name or who was going to know his name, which we'll get into that later.
Right.
But so yeah, so he stops in a motel with this other girl, and I'm a little confused because there's no real backstory on her. I've forgotten what her name is. Like, was it like Brittany or Bethany or something? I'm gonna pull it up on IMDb real quick because I can't.
Yeah, it was Betty.
Betty. I knew it had to be.
And first of all, let's get a couple things out of the way while we're setting the stage here. Betty, not the biggest role in this film, but she does have there's a backstory that isn't really gone into very much. But there's definitely there. She is played by Laura Ramsey, who started as a reality TV show personality.
Really?
Yeah, and ended up, I think she was in like the Real World movie or something like that. I'm not present.
Oh, she was in the Real Cancun movie.
Yeah. I guess that's what. Yeah, I think it's what it was called. So she was in that, and then decided to pursue acting, and killed it.
I thought she was great. Literally, I was.
No. I'm not talking about this. In The Ruins, she's in a movie called The Ruins, and I think a lot of people have seen that movie where a group of vacationers somewhere in South America, Central America, go and visit somewhere, get trapped, and there's all these vines. There's vines that are growing around. She's great in The Ruins, and I really think she deserved better in her career than what ended up happening, because she stole that movie from higher profile actors. But yeah, she plays Betty, and it was wonderful to see her again in a small role.
Which I thought was going to be bigger.
Yeah, because like you said, there's a lot there that is left up to the imagination, or an untold origin story for her that we'll get into, I guess, maybe a bit.
Okay, let's talk about this right now, because I want to talk about that, because it sort of bothered me that we get a lot more backstory with the main girl, Emma, and not enough with this other girl and their connection. Because I feel like there was a little bit of a connection between both of them, because there's even a line. She says, "Do you love her more than me?" And you just froze. So you might need to do your up. There you go. You froze, and you froze with you drinking the drink there.
Am I back?
No, you are not.
Hey,
I don't know.
I was really thirsty.
I was
really thirsty.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe if you stop your video and start it again, it does. Okay, you're moving. So
I don't know. It's saying that my video is unstable, and what do you know? So is my personality.
That's well, I say so is my life all the time. So I mean, I get it.
So okay, I think that here's where we're really getting at with Betty, who, again, we just to clarify, we've already spoken about her more than she's actually in the film.
That's true.
She has a scar on her that is identical to a scar that the main character has. So the assumption, I think, would be at some point, the driver guy, the main guy, kidnapped her and kept her as prisoner. And she eventually got brainwashed into actually thinking this was some sort of relationship. And so she is now jealous of the quote unquote new girl that he's kidnapped and is holding prisoner. And so she's actually kind of like you mentioned, do you love her more than you love me? Okay, first of all, you were kidnapped too.
Right.
So, I mean, so there is some interesting, because I run a mental health nonprofit and I analyze films from a mental health standpoint. I could go off on a whole tangent
Well,
about her
is
situation.
it called like Stendhal syndrome or something? When the it's sort of like when the
What?
it's when like the person actually falls in love with the captor. I think it's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
syndrome.
There's what is it like? Was it Patty Hearst? I think who was kidnapped by some people that were wanting money, and then eventually joined their cause and decided to be a terrorist herself. I may have just invented that. I think that's accurate. But yeah, it's an actual thing where someone who is kidnapped or tortured, whatever, would mentally break and believe that they're in some sort of relationship or something with their captor. That's an actual thing.
I'm trying to find out what it's called real quick because it's bothering me. They are in
Oh,
love
great.
with the kidnapper. Um, yep, I'm gonna have to figure it out because it is like literally on my brain. Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
of course it is.
Stockholm syndrome. It is a so it's actually from Stockholm, Sweden, I guess, or something, where it originated from, where a bank robbery, where the person got captured, I guess, got kidnapped in a bank robbery and fell in love with the kidnapper. So, it happens. It's weird. It's a psychological thing. So, makes sense that maybe you'd like it too.
Yeah,
Hearing about
I
that stuff.
was specifically trying, for the record, I was specifically trying to avoid this discussion because I because I always talk about mental health and stuff in my on my show, but that's
Right.
okay. No,
Well,
no,
no,
you're
but
good.
like I love that shit too. Like I love
Yeah.
talking
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
I
So,
think that I think there was definitely a case of that going on with her character, because at some point she was kidnapped because of the scar issue.
mhm.
And she didn't. Well, moving forward a little bit, because like I said, she has a small role. She is not killed in this film.
Yes, she kills herself.
She kills herself.
Yes.
There's a point where the Funkasaurus has her at knife point, and she basically just gives up and pushes her own neck into the blade and kills herself, which freaks out the Funkasaurus, and also
Pisses off.
enrages Gaston.
It was funny because yesterday I was watching Beauty and the Beast, and then I didn't even realize Luke Evans was the star of this, and I'm like, there
Yep.
you go. That's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot there with her character that is not developed in the film, but certainly gives you something to chew on about how one character, has Stockholm syndrome, the other is desperately trying to get away, but obviously, I mean, there's something. She has definitely been traumatized by the experience as well. But to go on what you were saying, Luke Evans is a guy. Hollywood's trying to make this guy happen. They have been for a long time. I mean, he doesn't have the looks of a Hemsworth,
Or Chris Evans.
right? Right. Yeah.
But I don't think they're related. I don't think so.
I don't think they belong in a movie together either, because Chris Evans is talented. No, the thing about Luke Evans is he's fine. He's good at what he does. I know he was one of the many actors that was at one point connected to The Crow. Of course, Tom Hiddleston was connected. Jason Momoa was connected. The Crow has been looking for an actor for a long time. The remake of The Crow. But yeah, Hollywood's been trying to make him happen for a while. I think I don't think he was I don't think he was a star when this movie was made.
Well, right. And this was, and once again, this is why this is on 31 Days of Indie Horror. This is an independent film. This isn't like a big budget. This is Anchor Bay put this out. Like they are not a huge company. They're not a Warner Brothers. They're not Universal, but they are really good. They're like a Lionsgate, you know, when it comes to these things. So I love seeing this film as an independent film, but it is definitely probably a much higher budget than, a lot of the stuff that we watch on 31 Days of Indie Horror, Are you there? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why am I
No, you
frozen
look like you're,
again?
yeah, no, you look for a second like you might have been, but I don't know. Maybe you're just waiting for me to stop talking. I don't know.
No. I'm entranced by what you have to say. And also the other actress, that the main actress who is in this, is Adelaide Clemens, I think her name is. Yeah, Adelaide Clemens. That's the main actress in this. And you know how everyone says that Michelle Williams and Carey Mulligan look alike?
Right.
Well, if the two of them were to gloriously have a child, I think it would look like Adelaide Clemens.
She is glorious. I thought I had a crush on her. Not gonna lie. And I adored her from the minute like she kind of came out, and but we haven't even. Jeez, we keep kind of like switching apart
because we're introducing the show. We're introducing who is who.
Yeah.
And by the way, and just for the record, for anyone who is listening to this, Adelaide Clemens was in the Silent Hill movie, or
Nice.
movies, I think. So for those of you who are horror fans, that's where you know her from. And she's cool.
Yeah. The main bad guy, like the main leader of the bad guys, I was looking him up and I realized he was Terry in freaking Wayne's World.
Oh,
after that, I couldn't take him seriously.
Well, I couldn't take him seriously regardless. But okay, so Luke Evans is a psychopath, and he has.
Oh yeah, he specifically said psycho. He's not a serial killer. He's
right. Don't insult him.
Yeah.
He apparently has this history where he finds young women, kidnaps them, and then
as you do.
Maybe as you do. Speak for yourself. But and what he does is he plays these mind games with them. There's an explanation at one point where he locks himself in a room with Adelaide Clemens' character, and basically says, this is how you can save my life if my neck is cut, if my artery is cut. And then he proceeds to cut himself, and he's bleeding out, and they explain in order to escape, she saved his life. She followed the instructions he told her. She saves his life, and he's like, you really did it. You saved my life. We have a connection now. We're like one together. And she's like, no, I saved your life so that you would unlock the door. And he's like, yeah, the door was never locked.
Right. And so she could have just escaped.
So she could have just left. She could have just left him behind and split. But it's these mind games that he plays with people. And apparently one person got Stockholm syndrome. Adelaide Clemens, she ain't playing that. She's trying to get back to Silent Hill. So she is
sort of not like there's there was a good bit of weirdness where she was a little weird about them taking her back to Nashville to where she lives, and I was just like, of course they're gonna take you back there. They want that fucking reward money, which she knew about.
Oh sure, yeah, she knew.
I don't.
That.
Anyway, yes. So that's just all.
So she's been missing for a long time. There's a reward for her. That's the setup there. Meanwhile, there's a completely separate group of horrible people who are basically robbing rich people to get by. They have a kind of a busted plan to steal something from some rich family that they thought was on vacation. There's some tension between members of their group. Funkasaurus is one of that group. So is Terry from Wayne's World.
You know what I just thought about? This is a reverse Home Alone. You know,
Uh,
like where Home Alone, like the wet bandits were trying to sneak into the house,
right.
and the people, and then whatever, and then the person there, but then later the bad guy there, whatever, the good guy, whatever you want to call the driver, Luke Evans, he sets up like booby traps around that house to to attack them all. It's sort of like a reverse Home Alone.
Yes.
you know like it's the bad guys are
Right.
the
Well,
ones.
and so to set it up, they end up crossing paths, right? And one of the guys decides, I'm going to mess with this guy and we're going to steal some stuff from him because that last thing got botched. Ends up, oh no, they find the captured Adelaide Clemens, who's been kidnapped, and they go, oh, what's going on here? She's kidnapped. We're bad guys. We're not going to set her free. Let's find out what's going on. Luke Evans, meanwhile, decides, I'm going to go crow on you guys since I'm not getting that gig. And so he decides he's going to booby trap around the house, anti-Home Alone. And he's going to pick these guys off one by one. So there you go. Your basic setup is we have an innocent victim, Adelaide Clemens, who is a victim of many bad projects.
I know, right? Poor,
but
unlucky Adelaide Williams or whatever.
Yes. But so
Clemens.
Yes. So she is the kind of your sympathetic viewpoint for the viewer. Everybody else in the movie is a bad guy.
I did like one line where she sees him like all bloody and everything, right? And she looks over and she goes, "You know what? I'm just gonna let him just kill you all,
right,
and everything." Because like at that particular moment, like she already knew that this was not gonna go down the way that these criminals thought they could. They thought this guy was. They even said, the guy said inside the when he meets him for the first time, the one girl, Betty, says, "Don't," right? And then he goes, "Don't, because you're not the type." And I'm like, motherfucker, you do not know this guy.
Exactly.
I already don't trust this guy, at all. I could tell. Like, he's not somebody I would fuck
these
with.
These guys can't even pull off a right. And these guys they view themselves as hard asses, but they're, and they are killers, or one of them is, but they're nothing. They're just 2-bit local yokels here. And we got a real psychopath here who basically, you're not really rooting for either side to win because they're
I'm sorry. I was rooting for the psychopath to win. I liked him from
that
the
actually
very
doesn't
second.
surprise me from you, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I mean, because like when you're watching it and you're watching Luke Evans, you're like, oh my God, that dude is so much fun. You know what? It also reminded me of Commando, like where he's just taking out everybody on his own and everything. And I mean, with any kind of trickery or any kind of like Rambo type shit, like he's throwing them at him.
And it's just like you root for Jason Voorhees to kill all the camp counselors,
sometimes, except for like the main counselor.
And that's Adelaide Clemens.
Exactly. I didn't want him to kill her.
No, of course not. She's innocent.
But I didn't mind if he killed all the. I didn't like him killing Tyrus though, because I like Tyrus. I liked his character Ethan. I liked him because he was sort of like this like big brute guy that like was like kind of, and then I kind of felt bad for him because I think he was sort of like he was the big guy, and he never thought anybody would be able to like hurt him, so he wouldn't probably have tried to kill anybody, but he would have threatened them enough where they wouldn't have tried to fuck with them, but he literally fucked with the wrong person.
Right. Yeah. I could see where you'd feel bad about the guy who died immediately after putting a knife to a girl's throat. Yeah,
come on.
He's a good guy. He come on, salt of the earth, that guy.
No, but I did not see him. He wouldn't have killed her. He would not have. That's what I didn't like.
He needs new
Honestly,
backup dancers. I mean, come on. So yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't. I don't think that. No.
No, I get what you're saying, but just like any 80s slasher film, they set up a group of people that you really don't mind seeing die.
Yeah.
You don't like them, and it's basically just, hey, for the next hour, we're gonna watch the main killer take out all these bad guys.
I was a little conflicted by Amber, which was she was the daughter of the main the leader or whatever.
Yep.
And I kind of felt a little bit for her because I felt like she was pretty badass at times, but really I felt like she was sort of at times she felt really nice, like I felt like she wasn't really, if like her father wasn't a part of this stuff or whatever, she wouldn't have been like, this wouldn't have been her thing. She was just kind of brought in on it. So I was sort of a little
to be clear, Luke Evans did not kill her. If I'm thinking of the right character.
Yes,
he did not kill her.
But who knows if she's even still not alive or dead, because
oh my God, a sequel saying she lived, and it's
that's
all
the title. She lives.
Psych, she lives.
And she comes after the driver.
Oh yeah, she goes after.
I think that's
Luke
really
Evans.
what they tried to set up, because at the end of the movie, we are even sticking to that thing, but like there is somebody who lives, and it's called No One Lives because of that one line where he killed the guy at the end, and he says no one lives, and he kills him or whatever. So but then you see that the other girl is alive, and then he was like, "Yeah, forget it. I'm gonna keep walking."
Yeah. Okay. So,
I'm sorry, I just skipped all the way to the end, but
yeah, no, it's fine. No one's gonna watch the movie.
Or hopefully they've already have.
I'm sorry, it's available now on Tubi. So, yeah, basically the rest of the movie is him kind of slasher killer-ish. Going after each one of the people, picking them off one by one, sometimes in bloody fashion. It's not grotesque gore, but it's some comical blood splatters and stuff like that at times. So basically he's working his way through the bad guys, mostly so he could get his captive back, I guess. Or at least partially.
No, he also wants to get revenge for that girl.
Yeah.
Killing
Yeah. Yeah, and of course,
yes.
for killing the girl from the ruins.
Why did she kill herself? Like that never. Like I never.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Look how sad she was in the few scenes that she was in. Look how sad she was. I mean, this was someone who was kidnapped from her normal life and was living with a psychopath who was playing constant mind games with her. She developed Stockholm syndrome, thought she was in love with her captor. And meanwhile, he's got what she views as a side piece, but it's actually another. I mean, she's aware that it's another girl that he's captured, but her brain is just so broken by that point that she's like, hey, you're not going to leave me for her, are you? I mean, because she's so wrapped up in this game, this web that he spun. And, but you can tell she's sad. And in a way, when that knife was to her throat, it was, this is my way out of this. And it's the only way I can see a way out of this. If this movie was worth analyzing, it would be kind of a heartbreaking,
I don't
story.
know. It's heartbreaking to me. I liked her.
I like Laura Ramsey. I kicked this off talking about how great she is in The Ruins, which you should see.
I will definitely. Now I'll have to put it for 31 Days of ER next season.
See you next year, Moody.
All right. Well, David has to be back for that one.
So basically the whole film is the cat and mouse game between him and the bad guys, who at this point want to turn in the girl for the ransom money. They're going to get a couple $1 million, but they're bad people too. So they can't really go to the cops. They, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to really discuss, I don't think, during that scene, except for there's a couple cool little, kill scenes, whatever.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
But
I don't know.
ultimately,
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. You're saying ultimately?
no, I mean, I think that, I think that, like the one I kind of consider it an issue. Maybe you don't. Is that Adelaide Clemens' character, because of how traumatized she was really one note through the whole thing. And I get it. It was how she was portraying trauma. But it was a little hard to kind of root for. I mean, I know you want the killer to kill the jerks. I get that. Just like any slasher film. But to me, it was a little hard to really invest in like the characters, because the entire thing was a bunch of bad people, and then one that was so traumatized that she didn't really have much to say or much emotion to express. But
you're talking about Adelaide Clemens character? No,
yeah.
I didn't think she was one note at all.
No, and what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the actress did a bad job.
No. But I'm saying her character, I felt, was very not like, I felt like the character was very lively. There was a lot of shit that goes on. Like she has to fight those guys off. I mean, there's times where she had to make decisions whether to stay with the bad guys or go with or figure out how to like wait for them all to die. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of shit. Like one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie is the scene in a motel room where she gets the gun, and she has to choose whether or not to shoot the guy, but she chooses not. Well, she's about to, and then the cop fucking goddamn cop blocker, he comes in there, the sheriff comes in there and he gets his head blown off, or whatever. I mean, and that is all because the what is it? That is because they were idiots and decided to use that guy's credit card, at the, at the motel. So, they got caught. Oh, what an interesting name,
Right. Yeah. I mean, which it like I said, I'm not saying she did a bad job. I just think that because she was portraying a traumatized person, she was, with the exception of a couple of times like that, she was often watching the action.
Right. She wasn't going to participate because.
Right. I mean, she wasn't prepared to. Yeah.
Well, no, but also she wasn't going to participate because, she's not going to help the people who are kidnapping her again. She got kidnapped twice, man. I mean,
right. Yeah.
So, I mean, her character, I felt like got put through hell. I mean, she was, who knows how long she was in that trunk for, before.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm not discounting the trauma. I just think that, as a result of that choice and of what was happening, your sympathetic viewpoint was kind of a watcher of the situation.
I know, and I felt like that was perfect for her because she really wasn't going to help the bad guys kill this guy. Because
no.
Then what's going to happen to her anyway with these other guys? She probably felt like it was better if those guys killed them, and then she tried to escape. And that was probably her plan. We don't know that because we don't really know the psychological.
Better yet, just
her character's mind, But that's what I felt. Like I felt
right, or better yet, you guys all just kill each other off, and when there's one left, I'll just run.
Right,
which is basically what she did.
Yeah, exactly. And then the guy came back and tried to kill Luke Evans some more and stuff, or try to attack him some more, and Luke just obviously killed the dude. But man, there was some really good scenes, like especially some fight scenes. The only thing I talked to you before, the ending started to get where it was really fun, There's a lot of shit going on in the beginning, in the middle, had some really good action. And then when it got toward like the third act, I feel like it kind of slowed down a little bit. Like right after the part I started not liking is the part after the hotel. And I think my biggest problem with the movie is it should have stayed at the house and should not have gone to the hotel.
And so
Should have.
you're talking about basically, I guess outside the hotel, there's what is it, like a car lot or a
It looked like
junkyard or
a
something? I forget where
junkyard.
they're at.
It
Yeah,
was like a junkyard with a
yeah,
bunch of cars like all stacked on top of each
yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you're talking about, I do think that the hotel kind of gave them that scene of her, I mean, finally with a weapon, and
Right. Which they could have
hey,
done
right,
had
and
they
hey,
stayed at the house.
right, right,
You
right.
know?
Um, yeah, I get what you're saying, and they the water fight between the two guys,
Right.
where they're in the mud, or in the puddle or whatever fighting. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I could see where you say it might have lost a bit.
I know. And then there's the other stuff where like he's walking down the street and a fucking bunch of frat boy bro hams come up, and they're
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
hey, do you need a ride? I'm like, really? Come on. Dude's bloody. And you're even saying, "Are you're hurt?" Like you're not gonna like nobody's gonna give this motherfucker a ride. And then he looks over, basically winks at the camera saying, this just been my lucky day. I think that's where it turned, literally. I think right there I started to like. Only scene I liked after that was like the fact that one girl said, here's a gun, you can go kill that guy if you want, you know
Yep.
basically. And the only reason I was like thinking, don't shoot the girl inside the bathroom, because she looked like she wanted to shoot her. I'm like, you do that, you make a noise, that guy's going to be ready. But if you have it
Right.
behind your back or whatever, and
I
he's not expecting it.
I agree that the frat boy scene was, I mean, I was gonna say a little stupid. It's a WWE film. It's a lot stupid. But yeah,
I don't know if that was a WWE thing, but
yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm just saying um it's not it's this isn't high art.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that was a dumb scene,
Hmm.
that wasn't needed. Um, I mean, at first you're like, are they using this so they can up the body count and we can watch him
I
kill
thought so
a whole
too.
car
And
full
I
of
was like,
people?
why didn't you give us that? Why didn't we at least at some point see that all the people are dead? I mean, I understand you wanted to, all of a sudden have the window open, so all of a sudden, oh, now he's here. But like, give us a fucking scene where we get a body count, because that would have been fucking cool. Because otherwise, like, what was the point of that scene other than like, oh man, my day just got better,
Right. I
Like,
mean,
I don't know,
again,
or it
it's
gets better and better.
it's horror movies that are borrowing kind of slasherish tendencies. Frat boys were made to die in this sort of film.
Exactly.
That's their whole purpose for existing. So yeah, that's one of those things where you're like, okay, not sure why that happened, but okie doke. I will say that um, her grabbing that gun was a big scene,
Mm-hmm.
because this is someone who, when you're talking about trauma, she has finally got a tool to win her freedom back.
She had
Um,
a tool earlier when she had that knife and she could have killed them. I mean, technically,
wait,
she could have walked out the door and tried it. Tried to open the door. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think with that knife she thought she had any chance of taking on Luke Evans.
well, no, no, no. Remember when he stabbed himself and he showed her what could happen? He could bleed out and everything. I'm talking about that.
No, oh yeah. I mean, that scene, that was before she. I mean, I take it that was a memory from early on in the process. From because I think her hair was different too.
Right.
So that's a memory from early on in the process when he was just screwing with her head. But this is after, a couple years or whatever of this abuse and being a prisoner. She finally has a tool to win her freedom. I mean, I would have liked for it to have been a little bit better than that,
Right.
a little bit better than what we got, because I think it could have been a good example of, to kind of, in a horror movie way, show someone overcoming their trauma and overcoming the horrible things that have happened to her, of reclaiming her destiny with a pistol, with hot lead. And I mean, the gun didn't really play, well, any role.
Right.
I mean, it didn't play any role.
Mm.
So yeah, and so you ended up with what I think was a kind of a bad decision, just like you mentioned, of them in the car lot with the two main bad guys fighting. And it did feel less focused on her than I wanted it to be.
Right.
Because ultimately, at no point did I think that the guy stealing rich people's art was gonna kill him. Yeah, I mean, that was never gonna happen. So when Luke Evans wins, and I'm sorry, can you explain the next scene to me, the next part to me,
Which one?
where he just decides to let her go?
Oh, at the end, and they're like,
I mean, where that came out of nowhere, of just like,
especially when he just said no one lives, and
yeah.
then he's like, he walks out of the hospital, sees that she's there, stares at her like, like, oh man, like,
Well, no,
and
it's
then
not even that. But why was she in the hospital? I mean, well, obviously she had,
she
years
survived.
of abuse, but she was in the hospital because he stabbed her in the stomach. I mentioned earlier where Laura Ramsey's character had a scar on her stomach. She had a similar scar on her stomach, and he stabbed her in that scar and removed what I guess is pretty obviously a tracking device, because he said, "You can't escape me. I'm inside you." Then he stabbed her and pulled out a tracking device that he had placed inside her. So she never could have escaped him, because he had a tracking device in her. I mean, I guess
Right.
she theoretically could have gone to the hospital and had it removed. But after he kills the last of the local yokels, he just decides, I'm now going to set you free. I'm going to take the tracking device out of you. And I mean, she was of course stabbed and bleeding. So the paramedics came, took her to the hospital. He cleaned up the survivors of the local yokel art heist or whatever group. He killed the last of them, and then split and is smiling as she's being rolled into the hospital. I thought no one lives.
Yeah, I'm saying that's like, that made no sense at all. I thought he was going to turn around and go back into the hospital, and that was how it was going to end. That's how I would have ended it, because like, you don't need to see him attack her or get her. You can just hear that line, "No one lives," and him go, "Fuck, I've got to finish this last thing." So that's it. You know,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, it's if the movie was about her trauma, basically the guy that traumatized her eventually just went, "Okay, you can go."
maybe because the tracking device is out of her, that he's just done. You
Well,
know,
yeah, that's what he's saying. He's like, "I'm done with you now." Okay,
right?
okay, but why are you done with her now? I mean, obviously, I mean, he never should have had her in the first place, but there was nothing in the film that made him go, "Why do I have her kidnapped?" I mean,
Right.
at no point did he show a conscience. So like, he just decided to let her go, and maybe he realized that she's not going to fall in love with him like the Stockholm syndrome Laura Ramsey did. But it it was just kind of weird that he took the tracking device out of her, let her get found, and then kind of smiled and walked away. And now, but no one lives.
I mean,
but she lives, and you let her live. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, well, first of all, yes, he let her live. Does she know any information about him? Can she put him away? No. So like, okay, I understand. Movie's called No One Lives, but somebody fucking lived by the end of the movie. So it was sort of a contradictory title, I guess. Especially with that like no one lives line. Like it could have ended with him just going no one lives, cutting out, leaving the hospital and then walking away. And the other chick died anyway, So why? I mean, whatever. It didn't. It was weird. Don't get it. Didn't really like that part. Like I said, I don't really like the ending of the movie. Period. Like I feel like it just kind of lost.
If you're going to have her freed and safe, so she can return home, restart her life, man, can't you at least have her be some part of her own saving? I mean, couldn't she save herself? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he let her go. She did nothing to reclaim her freedom. And I feel like that was and I know
maybe that's it. Maybe that's why he, because then at that particular moment, he's still out there. He's still traumatizing her even when she's in the hospital. I think we're really thinking way too much into this because I don't think the writer thought too much into this. But I'm just saying.
I think that her character either needed that redemption, and not that her character needs redemption. She was a good person, but I think that her soul, her spirit, her mental state needed that moment of strength of overcoming the oppressor,
right?
Or no one lives. One of the two.
Yeah.
Either one of the two. Because if you're going to say we're going to make a movie that's just freaking killing, we're going to have no one live but the killer. And if you like it, we'll make another one.
How awesome. Okay, sorry. What were you saying? I totally interrupted you.
No, I just like, have you ever, can you imagine if like a Friday the 13th, one of the sequels, Jason's chasing after the final girl. She falls down on the ground because she trips over her own 2 feet. He catches up, knife in the back of the head. She's dead. He stands up, looks around, goes, well, that's all of them. And then sits down on a tree stump and goes, I'll wait till next year. Why are we playing this game where, they killed Jason this time? No, they didn't. He'll be back, and we know he'll be back. So no one lives. Have Jason kill them all. And
right.
And not to say that should have happened in Friday the 13th.
Right. That would have been I would have liked him to sit down and take a break, maybe have a cigarette. I don't know.
Right? Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
He's been through a lot.
But the thing is, this is a movie where you didn't have to play that game of we're going to stop the killer, but he'll be back in a year and a half when we want to make more money. You could have literally just made this movie, the killer kills everyone and walks away.
So this will bring back one of my I did a review of Better Watch Out last year, which is a Christmas movie. I think it was last year, but it was a Christmas movie. Basically, what's his name? Or at least it was basically a Home Alone.
Oh sure, yeah. I've seen it. Yeah,
you've seen a scene. So, at the end of the movie where he thought he killed the baby, the girl, and then she gives him the middle finger when she's in the thing, and he goes, "Mom, can I go to the hospital and check up on her?" So there's that scene where he's sort of letting, and spoilers alert for Better Watch Out. I guess. But like,
which you should have seen already. That's actually a decent movie.
Yeah.
And it's
But
got
like
Olivia DeJonge in it from The
The
Visit.
Visit. Yeah. But and the other kid from The Visit.
The M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Visit.
It was so awkward seeing them together in that particular scene or that particular movie. But anyway, but the whole point is like the end, he's kind of like, you're kind of left open to think, okay, this kid's probably going to try to go back over there and finish off the job. Whether or not they make a sequel or not, doesn't matter. But, you're left thinking, okay, that's probably going to happen, which is how they should have ended No One Lives, with him going,
yep,
shit, I totally left that girl alive.
Yeah, like
head back over into the hospital.
He could have smirked, walked away, and then stopped and went, nah, and turned, and like the last scene of the movie could be him turning around to go back into the hospital. That would have been great. That could have been cool. All I'm saying is, either give her an arc where she overcomes her trauma,
right,
or No One Lives. Exactly. One of the two, either of those would have worked for me. Instead, they landed somewhere in the middle,
right?
And the ending didn't work. Look, not like we're ever going to get a sequel to this movie. I mean, it's not, it ain't gonna
What would it be called? No One Lives Again?
Right.
Like, I mean,
no one
with a title.
Lives.
Yeah, there's still No One Lives. There's like, no way to, like, it wasn't meant to be a movie with a sequel.
Right, which is why you could have had the killer either killed or
kill everybody,
or kill everyone and walk off happy.
It could have ended with him getting killed, though, because it's called No One Lives. It already set itself up to be this like thing where, like, because that's a line in the movie, which drives me nuts when they like take the line from the movie and make it like that, because then you're pretty much just setting yourself up to keep with that.
I do want to correct you on one thing, though, where you're talking about, how do you make a sequel to a movie called No One Lives? I will offer to you the cinematic disaster that is The Last Exorcism Part 2.
Well, okay. That always reminds me of like Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Right.
Like, I mean, how do you make a sequel to that? Oh, you call it The New Beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what would this be like? No One Lives the New Beginning.
I have one for you. No One Cares.
That's what it really should have been called. Kind of. I don't know. I didn't hate the movie. Like, I honestly, having not known anything about it going in, just the title, I was like, all right, this sounds like it might be kind of fun. And then I watch it and I'm like, okay, I'm digging it. And then I didn't know Luke Evans was in it. And I'm like, oh, there's Gaston. Awesome. We started watching it. America Olivio's in it, by the way, and she's in a lot of shit, too. So there was some really good star power here in the movie, and probably should have been better. But I just think this is why no one knows, and this is why no one cares. It's because, and this is why it's on Tubi, where, you know what I mean? It's not this huge, like, blockbuster film that a lot of people have seen. It didn't blow up like the Paranormal Activity or anything, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a low budget film that got made, got put on Tubi. People can see it, people can watch it. It's not a waste of time.
No, I don't think so. I think that there's enough I want to say comical blood, because when the blood flows in this movie, it splatters pretty good.
Yeah. Kind of like Hatchet kind of stuff.
Right. I mean, when the blood goes, it goes. But let me ask you this, you're a far more of an expert in film production than I could ever be.
All right.
So you have Luke Evans in this, who was Gaston.
Well, he was Gaston after this movie, though, right?
No. Of course. Yeah. I mean, like, he was Gaston.
This was definitely him. Like,
this was when he was first starting to get
some
Like
traction.
Hollywood was really starting to get behind him at this point.
No.
Because I remember when this movie came out, I remember, oh, Luke Evans is the next big thing. But he eventually did go on to play Gaston. So my question to you as a film producer, as a film director, is where would you have put the musical number in this film?
You know, with them singing. Well, I mean, throughout the whole thing, you know, it could be made into a musical. Like I would have had, you know, him singing at the, you know, in the motel, and then later singing at the restaurant.
Well,
You know,
he was singing at the hotel. He was hooking up with Laura Ramsey.
oh, he was singing a different tune for sure. And then I would have had him sing, you know, while he was killing the. We didn't even mention my favorite kill in the whole movie is him killing the leader of the group in the I forgot what it was, but it was the like a it was some kind of like God dang it, what I don't even machine that like fucking had these razors.
It was some kind
shit.
of machine.
Yeah, and he just turned it on, and then just you know, the guy said pity, you know, give me some pity, and it was like, ah, oh, that's a good thing, but never mind now, and just drops him. And I was like, oh my god, that was so brutal, and there's a lot of blood gushing and everything, and I was just like, this is why I like this movie. Like if that was at the part of the time where I'm like, this is good, like I'm really into it. And then it gets to like the third act, and I started thinking about it. A lot of movies, and not just horror films, but a lot of movies, period, they start lacking in the third act because I feel like it's the writers, because the writers sort of get to this point where they're kind of like they've used up all the momentum in the first two acts to get like all the excitement, all the adrenaline rushing, and then they don't know what to do with the third act, you know? That's my view.
I think that for the third act, you have to have characters that we're invested in, because otherwise because at this point you're at the race to the finish line. You know, you're at all the action's going to be taking place. You're not developing characters. You're not developing story per se. You're just racing to the finish line with whatever action beats or violence or whatever. And so I think you have to have characters that we're invested in. And you and I have put a lot more psychological thought into every character in this movie than the writers seem to.
I want to go back to one thing I'm really proud of, actually, when I think about it. So Adelaide Clemens' character, Emma Ward, in the beginning, she's sort of soft and weak, you know. We see in a flashback, she's, you know, she says she didn't kill him or let him bleed out because she's whatever, but she probably didn't because she didn't want to kill somebody, you know. She didn't want to be, you know what I mean? She didn't want to be a murderer, is my thought too. So
right,
she's very vulnerable.
Well, she wouldn't have been, but I get what you're saying.
She's very weak. She's very not, you know, like tough chick. She says, I'll just let them kill you that way, or him kill you, so that way I don't have to, you know what I mean? Like she's not a take charge kind of chick or whatever. At the end of the movie, you know, her character kind of goes through these things, like these levels, and at the end of the movie she becomes this badass chick. Like she is fighting, she's trying to survive, she's trying to get him, and she doesn't win. Well, I mean, she wins by a living.
Right.
Her character has an arc.
Yeah, and that's
so
I definitely get that, of where when she had the gun, she tried to use it to get to safety. Didn't work. And when she later had like a lead pipe, she tried to use it to save herself. Didn't really work. And so I guess what I'm saying is, I get where, I mean, she even says, I'm done running, you know, where she does have that moment where she's like, I'm going to face my trauma head on. And again, this is, I guess, and I really wanted to avoid this because I talk about this all the time in my own podcast and with my nonprofit. where she was ready to face her trauma, face it down, and overcome it. And I think that was an important scene in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But then she didn't succeed.
I mean, but that's more realistic, you know.
No, I mean, I
a
get it. I get it. But she was like a final girl. She's a final girl who lived by the sheer grace of the killer.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, like, look back at like whether it's Freddy, Jason, whatever.
No. You can't look at Freddy because at the end, Heather Langenkamp still got attacked by Freddy at the end. Or
but
whatever.
Still, at no point would any of these killers have gone, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you live. I'll see you later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Jason never, I mean, even Jason grabs the girl at the camp counselor at the end and pulls her down into the lake.
Sure.
You know, to drown her, you know, at the end, you know, you fucking killed my mommy, you know? So spoiler for fucking Friday the 13th.
It's a trope. Yeah, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, what do you, I mean,
I don't even know why you're watching these horror.
Forget about indie horror. Go watch actual horror.
Well, I mean, that's technically an indie movie too. The first one.
That's true, but it's also a classic.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, the final girl trope where the final girl takes charge, finds the strength within her that she didn't know she had, fights the killer and stops him, maybe forever, and then she lives to go on and live her life. The reason why that works is because it's the person that you didn't think, or like the person who didn't view herself as strong, finds the strength and wins, even if it's temporary. Adelaide Clemens did not win. She was allowed to live because the killer decided to just let her go.
Right.
And that is a whimper of an ending. You know, if she had found her strength and cut his freaking head off, then that's a symbolic way of saying she is overcoming this trauma. She's not going to let this experience control her life. It's symbolic, but regardless, that's what it symbolizes.
But it would also bring in more trauma. I mean, you have to understand, like I always think of it as this. Like, look, even if, okay, this is my psychological shit, and maybe I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But like,
no,
I can't.
It's not maybe.
I can't kill a fucking bug without feeling like some sort of like I'm a terrible person. You know, I feel terrible. You know, like. And you know, and people go, oh, they're insects, blah, 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 whatever. I feel fucking terrible still. You know, I mean, I do it because they're fucking shouldn't be in the house and they're going to fucking, you know what I mean? Like I can't get them out. So you know what I mean?
Be in the house.
Right. You know, but what I'm saying is, so then, you know, so I feel terrible. So imagine had I, you know, I have to like kill somebody who's trying to attack me. Right. That's going to give me a lot more trauma than a fucking bug, obviously. If I actually killed a normal person.
Well, yeah, but imagine the trauma of he's still out there. He let me go. He could find me at any moment if he really wanted to.
Right.
I mean, that's awful.
But that also goes with that guy's mind game shit, you know?
Well, yeah, well, exactly. Because he's all about the mind game.
So it should not have been called No One Lives. You know, but they still could have had that line in there, you know, no one lives. And then basically we get like a big fuck you at the end, you know, with them. And he's like, oh shit. Oh, well, you know what? I said no one lives, but you know, whatever. Because when you make a blanket statement, like no one lives as the title, you have to live up to it. It's like if Quentin Tarantino did Kill Bill and she never killed Bill, and you would have been so fucking mad. You know, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right? You would have been like, the fuck was the point of that title? Like, it's called Kill Bill. If I don't get to see her kill Bill, I'm gonna, you know, like I would hate this movie. And maybe that's the problem is no one lives. Somebody actually lived. He let her go. because of trauma shit, whatever.
Right, and exactly. He let her go. She did not win her freedom.
Right.
The killer just decided he was done playing with her and left to go, I don't know, kidnap somebody else.
Maybe he was keeping his word, man. He said, I'm done with you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Maybe he's had a change of, like, he's learned how to be a better human through the soul experience.
Oh yeah. It really does seem like it. It just seemed like he's
I'm gonna kill that last guy, but that's it. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
No, he's a psychopath.
Once I kill that guy from the 1950s that somehow made it into this film and is now in the hospital, I'm like, what? Why was that one character from a different era of? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, because he looked like he should have had a cigarette pack, like, in his, like.
Yeah, he should have had, like, on a white t-shirt with a pocket with a cigarette pack in there, and he should be talking about whatever, the Sharks and the Jets, or
or singing like he was in Greece or whatever.
Right, I want a cool rider.
Yeah, I totally I get it. He seemed like a greaser for sure, which was weird, but that was, I'm guessing, a direction idea, of like what they want to do with them.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, why don't we introduce some weird time travel thing and never mention it? We just have one dude who's from, like, the 1950s just show up in the film and he's just there. Yeah, okay.
I want to go back to our time travel discussion and say, like, we were talking about that earlier.
Right. Well, if that guy could go back in time, he would say, please don't be in this movie.
Actually, probably wouldn't, because I'm sure it helped. I'm sure it helped his career. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure
it did.
Yeah.
Put it this way. We only know of that guy from this film. Okay.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Luke Evans, we know. Adelaide Clemens, we know. This guy, it's a mystery to me.
Denny was his character name.
Uh-oh, you're going to look up his IMDb?
I am. Bo Knapp.
Okay. Bo Knapp. Is that his name?
Yeah. Oh, wow. He was in The Nice Guys, Death Wish.
Great. Cinematic excellence right there.
Hey, don't be knocking Death Wish. I actually enjoyed that.
Don't be knocking the new Death Wish?
Yeah, with Eli Roth, man, is my jam, dude.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you like Eli Roth. And,
I'm a huge...
I don't.
I love Eli Roth. I think he's the man. But whatever. He was in Super 8. Was he like a kid in Super 8? No. It's like right before then. I don't know what he was. I don't know. But he's been in a bunch of stuff. So
all right, yeah. An illustrious career for Bo Knapp. What's up, Bo Knapp?
Bo Knapp. Yeah. Knapp. Not like you're taking a nap.
Yeah, Bo Knapp.
But he, whatever, he's been in shit. I don't recognize him from any of that stuff or anything, but maybe if I watch Death Wish again, which I will, because I fucking love the movie. You have fun with that. I will enjoy it. But see, that's the thing. That's the beauty of film, that you can hate something or not like something, and I absolutely love it and adore it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing, film, because I mean, like, I understand that when it comes to horror, maybe, like, wait a minute, David, you say you're a horror fan, you don't like Eli Roth? No, I don't. I really don't.
But see, a lot of horror fans don't like Eli Roth, but that's fine.
I'm actually going to go one further. Get ready for this, guys. And I know what I don't like Quentin Tarantino.
You know what? I'm not really a big fan of, like,
I know.
I'm not a huge David Fincher.
Everyone
fan.
loves Quentin Tarantino. I don't.
I'm not a huge David Fincher fan. So I mean,
Yeah, which I mean, come on, 7's freaking awesome.
Well, 7 early David Fincher, amazing. Fight Club, 7, even Panic Room, great shit. Even Social Network. After that, like the newer shit, I just can't, he might do something that, like, piques my interest again, but I don't know. I'm like, maybe the game is great. I mean, that some of the stuff he's done is pretty good, but I like a lot of his newer stuff I'm just not as fan of. But that doesn't mean he won't make something that I don't love. Quentin Tarantino may make something that you love someday. Who knows? He's got one more movie to go. Apparently.
I would have given his Star Trek a chance. Just
He
to
might still make
see,
that. I don't know what he's doing.
just to see what craziness he came up with Star Trek.
He was going to make
Because
a rated R Star Trek.
right. Well, I mean, could it really have been worse than what the current regime of Star Trek writers have done? But this is not about Star Trek and my dislike of Discovery and all things Abrams verse or whatever, Kelvin timeline.
Or Tarantino. And it's about No One Lives, where a movie where we can both agree that it had some promising moments in it that were pretty decent, good special effects, decent acting from a lot of great people. It did fall. Like, I feel like it did fall at some point where it just kind of got boring and stale, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the twists and turns in the stuff. But the rest and the ending was just trash. Because
right. And like I said, I mean, I put some of the blame of that on some of the one notishness of, well, pretty much all of the characters.
Right.
I mean, but
they weren't very three-dimensional.
If somebody was right, I mean, like I said, you and I have psychoanalyzed this film way more than the writers did.
Right.
Which that's what we're here for, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, if someone's like, you know what, I like Adelaide Clemens in whatever that movie was. What was that? Silent Hill. I like her in Silent Hill. I'm going to give this a chance. Go for it. If you like Luke Evans, if you are the one fan of Luke Evans who actually thinks he deserves his stardom, then go right ahead and watch this too.
Don't God, man. That is harsh, dude.
No. Luke Evans is fine. I'm
just saying, because I mean, I don't know. Like, I like the dude. I mean,
no, he's fine. I'm just being overly hard on him because, and I have no problem with Luke Evans. I want to make that clear. But there was a time when Hollywood really wanted to make Luke Evans a big time star. And I just didn't see where he had that much to offer. But, I mean, then again, who was that dude that was in Avatar? That played the main guy in Avatar. Boy, Hollywood wanted to make him a star too. And you know what, dude? You were fine in Avatar, but it just didn't happen. The world just didn't take to him. Luke Evans is a megastar compared to that guy.
Okay, hold on a second. Real quick. I have to ask this question. I just saw that Luke Evans was in Fast and Furious 6 as Shaw.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Have you watched the Fast and Furious movies? I don't watch them.
I don't watch Fast or Furious.
Okay.
I'm neither of them.
But he was Shaw in part 6. And then and he was in the Fate of the Furious as Owen.
Look, don't you dare forget about the main film, Dracula Untold.
Oh yeah.
The film that was supposed to kick off the
Dark Universe.
The Dark Universe. Originally, that was going to kick off the Dark Universe. Turns out Luke Evans as Dracula using bats to form the shape of a fist and punching someone with a fist of bats. Turns out the public did not want to see that. So then they went, okay, that was not really part of the Dark Universe. We're actually going to start the Dark Universe with this Tom Cruise movie.
And they tried to do it like Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And they spent way too much money on it. And just remade the Brendan Fraser one, but with Tom Cruise. And I own it. I own The Mummy on 4D or 4K. And I actually really I don't mind it, I think it has like moments of fun, I get it. I get why it didn't do very well. And it's because like the problem is it was a Tom Cruise vehicle when what they really needed to do was make it not a Tom Cruise vehicle. They should have picked because like I'll talk about this and then we'll probably wrap this up.
Yeah,
But
because we're way off topic, but
we're way off topic, but I have to discuss this real quick. The Marvel started with Iron Man and cast Robert Downey Jr. and did the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, with Edward Norton, two stars that were not Tom Cruise type stars at that particular moment, and really took Robert Downey Jr. to another level that even Robert Downey Jr. hadn't even gone to yet. Because of that, they should have given another person another shot and created it like more horror based and not action based. And that's my opinion. But then they're trying to do it with the Blumhouse group, and I just don't feel it as much.
listen, the Mummy, and this is me throwing out a fan idea, okay? The Mummy could have been made at a tiny fraction of the money. And I think this is me just dreaming something up. I think it should have been about a team of people going into an undiscovered or like a never before searched like pyramid or underground tomb, and basically turn it into the Cell, like the Descent meets the Cell,
right?
And basically they go down into this thing to discover what riches are in this tomb. And then the tomb is just like the Cell, is picking them off one by one. You could have done that with a very low budget. And then in the very end, you show the actual mummy is alive. And oh my God, now he's going to be loose on the earth and whatever, and set up a universe. But you could have made that film for no more than it cost to make the freaking Cell.
Exactly. But they spent way too much money on it. Didn't get enough attention on it because, like, I hate to say it, but they picked the wrong one to do. I understand Dracula Untold didn't do very well. But they could have done Frankenstein, they could have done the Wolfman, they could have done any of those other ones, but they chose the Mummy. And the Mummy is the worst of the properties because it's probably the least favorite of a lot of the properties. The only reason people like the Mummy is because of Brendan Fraser's stuff.
And who's having such a great little comeback in the public eye, and that's a triumph for him.
Good.
And so you know who lives? Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
that's who lives. So forget about this movie. Go watch a Brendan Fraser film.
Yeah, go watch support Brendan Fraser. Oh my God, I love Encino Man. Yeah, dude, did you know? Well, all right. Anyway, I'm done. We're done with this conversation because I'm gonna go off on topics and other shit, and we've been doing that. But all in all, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for chatting with us about this. I really enjoyed our conversation. It went definitely a lot longer than I expected, but a lot of my
dude, you can't put us together.
Rambling.
You can't put us together without rambling.
Yep, the rambling guys. It's all right.
We talk about everything but the film.
No, we talked a lot about the film. Oh my God, what are you talking about?
So yeah, anyone want to find? I know. But if anyone wants to find out more about what I do, Geek Wellness Education, I'm on any social media. I am at GWE Contact. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also, gwecontact.org is my website, and we are doing really geeky mental health related events and bringing a mental health message to the world of fandom. So please follow me on social media and say hi and tell me that Jay Moose sent you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys agreed or disagreed, hope you guys watched the movie first before you listen to us jibber jabber. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Was it really, was it better than what you thought? I actually was looking up the IMDb ratings and reviews, and a lot of people were really impressed by this movie compared to what they thought. And a lot of it was like, things like, oh, I thought this was going to be worse than it was. And it was actually a lot better. So,
Me too.
I totally agree. I didn't think worse. I didn't think anything. I didn't have any expectations going into this movie, and I'm very glad I didn't, because I don't know if I would have been let down or, happy, with it because, to me, honestly, it's better that I had no expectations,
Yep.
I am just the only thing I'm down about is that apparently one person lived. He let one person live. So, whatever. You know what? If you're gonna
False advertising.
false advertising, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
How dare you, WWE?
How
You finally crossed the line.
finally, oh my goodness, they probably crossed the line a lot more than times than that.
Yeah, all the decades of bad wrestling storylines that this is what breaks it.
This is what breaks it. You fucked up, WWE. I think they continued to make movies after this, so I don't think they fucked up at all.
Oh yeah, they're probably working on like the Marine Part 20 right now. They still I'm pretty sure they still make movies. But I checked out. I mean, I got two words for you: Roman Reigns. Okay, I stopped watching. I stopped watching WWE right around that time.
For sure. Yeah. I'm not a really big wrestling fanatic or anything. The only on this show we've had Stro, who's a professional wrestler.
Yeah, the Maestro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's the only one, like, of the, whatever. So like, that I'm really, and so I get any information about wrestling from him, and
yeah, sure.
So like, like whatever. I'm not really into wrestling. He introduces me to a lot of them and shit and says, hey, do you know this person? So, I mean, it's kind of cool, but aside from that, I don't really know many people, but it'll be awesome. So hopefully I'll get to meet you in person when I go to the Tidewater HorrorCon.
What are you talking about, dude? It's October. We've already met at Tidewater HorrorCon.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, it was so good to meet you at Tidewater HorrorCon. It
was so good to finally meet you in person.
Happening tomorrow.
Does it start tomorrow? Jesus.
Yes, it does start tomorrow.
I'm probably going on Saturday. I was thinking Sunday, but I think I'm going to go on Saturday. I don't know. It depends. I've got to find out if one of my friends is still going or not. And if she's going, we're going. Me and Paul are going. If not, I guess I'm going to go by myself. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Come out and see us.
Yeah, I definitely want to meet you, and I want to meet Catherine.
Me too.
Yeah, Catherine is a sweetheart. I've interviewed her, and she's just super sweet. So she's really excited to finally, get to meet in person. And so am I. Just absolutely, she's adorable. And I told her I loved her. Like when I watched Terrifier, I'd already interviewed her before, and then I watched Terrifier, and I had her write to her and say, "Oh my God, your death was like the best." Spoiler alert.
Oh, I mean, look, I know that. I mean, we've already wrapped the show up twice. This episode has more endings than the Lord of the Rings, but that's a top 5 death probably in horror lore.
That's definitely.
That's a good death.
Yeah. So she should be proud.
Yeah. All right. So cool. I will see you in a few days or in last month.
And everybody, thank you guys for checking this out. Join us tomorrow for another one. Bye.